All right, hello everybody. Welcome. It is December 1st, 2025. You are here for our conversation with Fiona Ma, envisioning the California economy for 2026 and beyond. My name is Albert Chen, and I'm the founder of Albert's List. We're located here in the great state of California, focused on the San Francisco Bay Area, where we help job seekers become the most resilient version of themselves through job search, AI, and side hustle skills webinars, workshops, and multi-week boot camps. We're joined here today by Fiona Ma, CPA, and she's California's 34th state treasurer. And you can also say she's the state treasurer for the fourth largest economy in the world. She was first elected on November 6, 2018, with more votes, 7.8 million, than any other candidate for the treasurer in the state's history, and re-elected on November 8, 2022. She's the first woman of color and the first woman certified public accountant elected to the position. Presently, her office processes about 3 trillion in banking transactions a year, and she provides transparency and oversight for the government's investment portfolio and accounts, as well as the state's surplus funds. Treasurer Ma oversees an investment portfolio that averages about 165 billion, a portion of which is beneficially owned by more than 2,300 local governments in California. She serves as an agent of sale for all state bonds and as a trustee of billions of dollars of state indebtedness. Fiona, it's really good to have you here. Welcome.
Th- Thank you. Thank you, Albert.
Yeah. We've been planning this for a little while, and I think one of the more exciting opportunities and webinars, or I guess conversations that we've had this year. And as you know, we're focused on job seekers and a lot of California job seekers too, with, more than 50,000 members within our communities and beyond. And we're excited here to talk to you today about where California is headed because, as I hear from California leaders all the time, as California goes, so goes pretty much everywhere else. And so I want to kick off with a question that I think everybody has had on their mind for the last couple of years here. Coincidentally, we're on the 3-year anniversary of when ChatGPT first came out and really just changed everything. And the state is seeing a lot of excitement and anxiety around it. A lot of new job categories are being created, but there's a lot of fear of great displacement, layoffs, people losing their jobs. Um, and a lot of people and a lot of companies are using AI to inform layoffs or raise decisions and so forth. From your vantage point, how is California preparing for the dual challenge of deploying AI for growth and protecting workers in transitional roles? What concrete steps should job seekers take today to avoid being sidelined by AI adoption?
Yeah, it's a complex question. Um, I think we as job seekers or government, we're always trying to catch that next wave. And in California, we are highly dependent on personal income tax, corporation tax, and sales taxes. That makes up 90% of our general fund revenues. So, personal income tax, when companies are offering stock bonuses, options, capital gains, if they're selling and buying, if interest rates are low, like we've had before the pandemic, people were buying and selling all sorts of homes and cars and all sorts of things, right? And that really helped with record surpluses during COVID. And then the tech companies hired a lot of people because we all needed to be on Zoom and Google Meets. And so everybody was working and still merging and acquiring and IPOing. And then after COVID, everyone started going back to work or traveling or not really working from home like we were. And
Hmm.
that's when the traditional tech companies started laying off employees. But then AI kind of snuck back in. And we're in the Bay Area, and we know that San Francisco was pretty desolate during COVID and even the next few years because the tech companies said, okay, well, we're going to have everybody work from home 100%. And then they kind of reversed course and they started saying, well, we can't find the creativity if we're all working at home. We need to, build and we need to communicate and work together. And AI started in the outskirts of San Francisco, kind of the suburbs, not necessarily downtown. And then all of a sudden, everybody's in the AI movement, right? And then so
Yep.
now they're coming into downtown. It's creating all these jobs. So I guess, your question is, how do you catch that wave? How do you
Hmm.
know what's happening, right? And I do think in tech, I was just at a friend's house over Thanksgiving, and she used to work for a traditional like tech company, and now she's working for an AI company, and she's really stressed out because the founder and the executive team they push them pretty hard to meet these deadlines because they've kind of been behind, ChatGPT, and so I think there's a certain mindset, right? It's kind of like, the people who came to California looking for that gold, right? The gold diggers back in 1849. They didn't know, but all of a sudden, everyone's here. They're all trying to hit it rich. Same thing with AI. So AI is not going to go away. I use it to help answer questions or help me with my social media posts or my text messages, emails. I mean, it's very, very helpful. So it's not going away. So people need to understand how to use it and try to see which companies are kind of leading in the marketplace. But
Hmm.
you all know, you're all talking together. You all know like what's hot and you're all getting together in these sidebars. I mean, I attend a lot of them. So I know that everybody is buzzing and everyone's trying to figure out, what that next unicorn is going to be in California.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that right, you're at a lot of tech events in the Bay Area and you've been in San Francisco before you were in Sacramento, so you know how all of these things work. And I think that, I share that excitement because, when I'm not doing Albert's List, I'm also working in the AI space as well. And for job seekers, my understanding then is just that you got to just get on that wave somehow and maybe not even think about being displaced, but just, building as much skill and getting into the companies and riding that wave as much as you can.
Absolutely. And, I'm not a tech person, so I'm not
Sure.
sure how transferable those skills are from traditional tech to AI. You all will know, but obviously you need to, hone up on your skills. Make sure that you are networking with the right people. A lot of venture capital money is going into these AI companies, and everyone's just hoping that they're at the right place and the right time.
Definitely, definitely. And I think one of the interesting things is that while AI does take up and in some ways suck a lot of the oxygen out of what's coming out here in the Bay Area, I'm also curious to know what other, I think, industries that you possibly see based on where your office is investing in 2026 that might be of impact and influence to job seekers.
Sure.
I think, we've seen you talk about advanced manufacturing, robotics, and other emerging sectors. Can you talk a little bit about where that stands right now? And if people don't want to do AI, what other areas might be compelling as they look to the new year?
Sure. California has always been a leader in climate action and reducing our greenhouse gas emissions since 2006 with the passage of AB 32. And we have continued to set higher goals. We have met them. We've set higher goals and we've met them already. So we have shown in California that, we can do this. And also create those type of jobs. So clean energy, green, sustainable jobs are definitely where we're at here. We give tax incentives and credits and really are trying to make sure that these companies are thriving. Obviously, bioscience is still very hot. California passed two stem cell initiatives voted by the people. I think it totals about $6 billion. There's no other place in the world that hasn't invested this much money. And so all the top researchers and scientists and medical professionals are coming to California. Stem cell. However, when they come here, they need housing. And
Hmm.
so we still have a housing crisis, especially for the mid-market, those type of folks who are coming in with H-1B visas, for example. They still need affordable places to live. Uh, Robotics, clearly robotics is also leading. I've toured a number of different companies that are doing all sorts of new technologies to help alleviate humans, like firefighters that are going out to a fire. Their gear is 100 pounds. And if
Yeah.
you can get a robot to kind of walk up with them side by side, they're almost like an assistant. So it will alleviate wear and tear on the firefighters, for example, or hazardous materials, toxic chemicals, right? When there's a fire, there's lots of things that are, potentially exploding. These robots can go in and still, help with the firefighting. So drones, all of these technologies are really out there and everyone's trying to develop the best that they can. Gaming. California is still known as the gaming capital, of the world. So that is kind of a quiet industry, but clearly it's linked to gaming and the whole industry, entertainment, because you need games, you need, kind of the Hollywood actors still that are doing the motion capture. So yes, so gaming and then music. Believe it or not, LA is still known as the music capital. Even though we thought years ago when, people were creating their own music online and these record companies were going to go out of business or these entertainers were not going to get paid their royalty. No, they've adjusted and they've pivoted. And so these are still some of the top agency industries as well as aeronautics. We
Mhm.
still have all the big companies here. They're working on all sorts of new technology. And I would just say we are leading in technology and innovation. And because we are the fourth largest economy, we speak over 200 languages here in California. We are really attracting the best and the brightest.
Yeah, and so like when it comes to attracting, let's say, a lot of these companies to come and open shop in California, is there a lot being done as well to sort of incentivize that from building offices to hiring employees and so forth that perhaps job seekers here should get excited about?
Yeah, I mean, we do have different programs. I think they're probably a little bit outdated
Hmm.
when we talk about the different training programs for people, since AI is moving so fast and you really have to have a technical background and be comfortable, right? Either programming or, on your phones. And so I think at the state, we have a little catching up to do. Also, working with the community colleges. Community
Mm.
colleges are pretty, they're in a good position to be able to pivot and take advantage of these new technologies by hiring adjunct professors, or folks like you that may want to come in and, teach a class in their executive program or, through their extended learning. So yes, I would just say, there's lots of opportunities out there. California does offer a sales tax exemption
Mm.
for anyone buying equipment that is cleaning and greening California, creating a certain amount of jobs in certain, zip codes. So that is a competitive process, but we are able, if a company submits its application before they buy that equipment and they are granted that exemption, they can save anywhere from 7.25 to whatever your local sales and use tax is, sometimes up until 11 or 12%.
That's really exciting to hear. I think about opportunity a lot and what we can do to, or well, what we can do at least from a job search strategy side to increase that opportunity. And so it's really great to hear that there's a lot coming down from our state leadership as well.
Well, also, due to COVID, we received about $1 billion that
Hmm.
goes into small business programs, working with our community banks, CDFIs, in particular, trying to loan out that money to small businesses and startups, especially. And so I know that that is always an area where someone says, well, I just started, I don't have a track record, I don't have collateral. Well, we have some of those programs that may be able to help some of the startup tech investors, entrepreneurs.
Hmm. And just like I think going along with the lines of that, one of the things that I've also seen from our legislative analyst office was that we have an $18 billion budget shortfall for this next year. Does that impact any of the investments at all? And should job seekers here in California be concerned about any of that as it might relate to their ability to find a job, or might it be something different?
Well, like I said at the beginning, right? We're
Yeah.
highly dependent on personal income tax, corporation tax, and sales taxes. And
Yeah.
so these unicorns are really what is helping California do better than expected. I think the governor's office predicted about an $18 billion structural deficit moving forward. The LAO came out more recently with a $30 billion structural deficit. But that doesn't necessarily mean it will happen if
Hmm.
some of these AI companies, go public and merge and offer bonuses like ChatGPT, for example, right?
Right. Yeah. Million
OpenAI is
dollar
offering
bonuses.
like, yeah, $1 million cash, right? I
Yep.
mean, hey, I'm selling my house, so
I'll take a
that may
million
be
dollar bonus. Yeah.
exactly. And
Hmm.
that may be good for our housing
Right.
situation
Yeah.
because a lot of people were sitting on the sidelines because interest rates went up and they couldn't really access good loan rates. And so this may also spur the whole housing market again.
Yeah, that's also good too, because I mean, I think I know, we're mostly talking about jobs here, but I think the other aspect of it, which is housing, I think continues to be on the minds of a lot of Californians too, especially when it might cost like $3,000 in the middle of San Francisco to rent a one bed, one bath. And
Right.
so how do you I know we've also passed a lot of legislation on that earlier this year too. And maybe, there are folks here in the audience or listening afterwards who are thinking, I want to move to California and get myself a little bit of that California dream and, work for an AI company. And so, how do you see perhaps the housing market perhaps incrementally changing in 2026 with some of these new laws that have come into place that enable the building of more housing?
Yeah. I mean, that's part of it, right? It's supply and demand. So, takes a long time. I oversee the tax credit and bonds for affordable housing, and these projects could take 5 to 10 years to get permitted and put together your capital stack because these affordable housing units are supposed to be affordable for 55 years. So, not all investors want to hold their investment for 55 years. So I tell those investors go into the workforce, the market rate housing, and provide the housing around the job centers, around the universities,
Hmm.
around the companies that are, growing and relocating. Many of them are locating because they have to expand. They need a bigger footprint. They want to, buy cheaper land outside of the major cities. And so you need to kind of follow those trends as well. And if you invest early, real estate usually goes up, right, in terms of
Especially in
appreciation,
California too.
especially in California. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, that's really great. Um, So let's see. Your August 2025 newsletter mentioned that California investment decisions must reflect diversity, equity, and inclusion, that talent must match capital. Going back to the AI and automation question, what policies are you advancing to ensure that it's a win for businesses, is also a win for workers? And for job seekers who aren't in the traditional tech path, how should they pivot given perhaps this worker business balance?
Okay, so I started out as a CPA in private practice, working for one of the big eight accounting firms way back when. But then I found public service, and in government, we need good people. So if you have lost your job or you feel like you don't have good, work-life balance, you need a little flexibility in your schedule, you may want to think about government because government, it's usually a 9 to 5 job, no weekends, no overtime. But you go to work, you work on your task, but the secret is you want to stay at least 10 years. You
Hmm.
stay in state government for 10 years, you will get a small pension, but you will get health care 50% paid for life, you and your spouse. If you
Wow.
stay 20 years, 20 years, that's a long time, right? 20 years.
It is,
Some of these
yeah.
tech people are like 20 years. I can't even stay at my job for, 2 years. But 20 years then you'll get a larger pension and then free health care for life for you and your spouse for life. So for
Wow.
people like me who healthcare has always been a difficulty. I was born with a pre-existing condition. My mom had depression. Getting accessible, affordable healthcare has not always been easy, but always a priority especially as we get older. So I
Right.
would
Yeah.
encourage some people to think about government. We have lots of jobs available in all agencies across the board, and you can just Google, state jobs or even local. You can city council, your county board of supervisors, even special water districts and other like the harbor district. They all need tech people and they all need people who are tech savvy to
Hmm.
continue to move government forward so that we are not, falling behind. Because, if people cannot like let's say DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles, right?
Yeah.
They were not automated for many years, so who has time to go down there, stand online, wait for someone to help you? And now I
Well, I'm
think
glad I
they're
can renew online. I mean, it's fantastic, right? I think
yeah.
that's one of the great
You,
things.
You can do
Yeah.
a lot of it online. Like there's a company that I've been working with that does visas
Hmm.
through AI, and you could be sitting there at the airport, denied your visa because you didn't fill it out properly, and you can call her. She can do it through your face recognition, and it'll take minutes, and you don't have to miss your flight or cancel that important trip. So AI is really transforming a lot of the things that we're doing and saving a lot of time.
Yeah, yeah. And so, I mean, I think that, right, I love talking about jobs because, a lot of people, and if you're in the audience right now watching this live, hit thumbs up if you're looking for a job. We'd love to know how many job seekers are here. But I think more importantly, it's like when it comes to it, what are sort of the state priorities in terms of all the jobs that they need to fill right now, and what I guess are the most important skills, even maybe coming down to your own office and the treasurer's office.
Yeah, I mean, a lot like we take in over $3 trillion. We're investing
Hmm.
every single day. We're issuing bonds. All of this is through electronics.
Hmm.
And so, through tech. And so we need to have, hopefully the best and the brightest. However, our
Yeah.
salaries aren't great.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, and
But I
people
mean,
always
hey,
say,
healthcare paid for after 20 years. Like you just
well,
got to get through those 20 years.
that's what I'm saying. And then quality of life, if
Yeah.
you're raising kids or taking care of aging parents, I mean, you just can't afford to, work 18 hours a day, and still feel like you're doing your job, right? As a family person. So that's usually what happens is people do work these jobs, they get burnt out, and then they say, well, I need a little better work-life balance, and I'm going to look at government. So we are always looking for good people.
Yeah. Awesome. Wonderful. So I wanted to also transition a little bit to another topic, which is uh, from a small business, maybe even a side hustle standpoint. Here at Albert's List, we not only teach people job search and AI skills, but we also teach them how to build businesses with AI that they can then go ahead and make extra income because, inflation over the last few years and everything has become so expensive. Your office oversees a lot of financing and incentive programs that affect both, I think, business creation and job creation. How do any of these programs translate into day-to-day hiring decisions or even just day-to-day business decisions that folks who run side hustles or maybe a growing business can consider? And for job seekers who are also targeting a smaller business, how should they assess whether that business is benefiting from state policy and also maybe more likely to hire as a result of that?
Yeah, I mean, I would say if you are starting a business and you don't necessarily have all the skills in terms of marketing and accounting and legal, please utilize our small business development centers. The initial is SBDC.
Hmm.
We have a number of centers around the state. They are funded by the U.S. Small Business Administration as well as the state. And these are consultants who are experts who can help you walk you through, guide you, handhold you, connect you to the resources. On my website, www.treasure.ca.gov, I have a box, a blue box at the top that says resources. And if you click on that box and go to like small business resources, you will find some other leads that you may not have thought about. And there's all QR codes in there, but I would highly encourage you to peruse our website for different financing. And then, of course, you can always use, ChatGPT or Grok or whatever you'd like and just say, hey, what available financing options are out there, for a startup in California in this industry.
Mhm.
And, hopefully they can show you or lead you to some leads as well.
Yeah, awesome. That's good. That's good. Um, all right. So another question is to talk about California's policy environment, which I know you're probably super familiar with. What needs to change in order for more employers to locate here, expand, and for job seekers who are aligning their career path, how can they tell which companies are genuinely aligned with these state attraction strategies? Do you have any recommendations for how they can engage with their local leaders to encourage policies that lead to more job creation and more job opportunities in this state?
Yes. I would meet with CPAs every year during Legislative Action Day, and a lot of them would complain and they would say, don't you know California's taxes are too high? And, companies, the amount of regulations, and I asked them, how many of you have talked to your assembly member? How many of you talked to your senator? How many of you have written a letter to the governor, right? How many of you have even gone to a city council meeting? So you need to be that voice as well. Instead of just complaining, you should be proactive. How can I influence policy? If you're an expert in an area, how can I buddy up with someone like maybe me to be that expert? Because we are generalists, right? When you go through the legislature each year, there's 5,500 bills. There's
Wow.
no way you can understand all the nuances. So a lot of times I have to call experts and say, hey, can you just review this bill? Are there any unintended consequences? Is there anything that you think should be amended that will hurt, business opportunities? So, you just have to also get out of your comfort zone and be that advocate for yourself, for your company, or for the industry.
hmm Yeah, and so also for like, I guess, knowing whether a company wants to expand here, what are some of the characteristics that employees can look for on that front too?
Well, the more sophisticated ones, are always looking for financing. They're looking for free money, first and foremost, in
Yeah.
grants. If they can't, then they want to look at low interest loans, or, some of these other, like maybe issuing tax exempt, bonds, to investors to generate some more working capital. So I would say, follow the news, see who is out there. You can look at our programs and see who is applying and actively winning awards, because that would say that, we have vetted these companies, that they are on the right path, that we feel that they are a good investment with our taxpayer dollars. And therefore, we also have skin in the game because we want them to be successful because we're investing in them. CalPERS and CalSTRS, they are the two largest pension funds in the United States. I sit on both of those boards, and they are actively making investments not only into equities, but also into private equity, being one of the limited partners. So you can kind of follow and see who is getting the money, what type of companies are in their portfolio, just to kind of get a little bit more. Insight into which companies are a little more sophisticated and really playing for the long term.
Yeah. So as you look into 2026, what are some major predictions that you're seeing with the California economy? Anything that you can probably reasonably see from your vantage point as we head into the final month here of 2025?
Well, 2026 is an election year. So
hmm
six of us out of eight, I believe, are up for re-election next year. So who the voters vote for governor, I think is essential. Someone who understands, the economy and business and how everything ties together in terms of our dependency on personal income tax, corporation tax, and sales taxes. That has to be top of mind, which is, what I'm focused on since I'm always the first call when people don't have money or some program is going to potentially be defunded or these tariffs. Everything makes transactions, more difficult. And so, you know, I am I have lots of sleepless nights,
Hmm.
whenever I turn on the news, not sure whether, something from DC is really going to stick or it's just something that, popped into someone's mind because they watched a movie or something that night. So it is really difficult these times. It's not stable. But I just try to stay focused on California. Um, if you want that dream, come for the California dream, because we will embrace you, we will support you. I do think California could do more in terms of international relations. Texas, as I heard, Texas has a presence in 30 different countries. So when different countries, entrepreneurs want to come to the United States, who are they going to go to? Someone that they have met, that is wooing them, that is encouraging them, that is, being that liaison. That's what California needs to do a little bit more of. Not only are we competing against other states here, we're also competing against other nations, and everybody has an office, pension funds, different, you know, different different countries, want to get into this game, the private equity game, the AI game, and they're trying to figure out who to reach out to, who is going to be that liaison. And so a lot of the business organizations, the chambers of commerce, economic development councils, and even specialty organizations that focus on Italy or Latvia or Singapore, Vietnam, they all have trade associations. So start to network with them, with the consulates, the consul generals. And then hopefully that creates an ecosystem where you can figure out where you need to go and what the path is for success.
Yeah. And you had mentioned too, right? You had mentioned tariffs, and I know we're going off a little bit of our original questions here. Tell our audience a little bit about just how sensitive that has been to the California economy this year with the on again, off again tariffs and how that may impact jobs even for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. Yeah. So tariffs, as we, I think, hopefully all know, tariffs are taxes on consumers. It is not punishing different countries, but it is really adding an extra expense to everything that we are buying out there in the market. And I'll give you an example. There are companies that are growing food products in Mexico. And then when the first wave of tariffs came about, their trucks are stuck at the border. They had to pay that extra amount if they were going to get the food into California. And what are they going to do? The company's not going to eat it. They may for a little bit, but they're trying to pass it on to the consumers. That's why all of our products are costing a lot more.
Hmm.
Also, these tariffs are impacting our relationships with other countries like Canada and Mexico. Traditionally, they're like our brothers and sisters. We work together as the North American continents. They buy our goods, we buy theirs, services back and forth. And because of these tariffs, Canada is not selling any California wine
Hmm.
in their restaurants, their hotels, even at the grocery shelves because they're upset. So
And they're not coming to us to be play tourist either, sadly.
no, no, and they're not coming to California. Students, because of, the policies from Washington that, they're kind of anti foreign students, they're not coming here. They're going to Australia, they're going to the UK, or they're going to Canada for education. And we're losing those opportunities because when we get foreign students to come to the United States for studying, they're usually paying 3 times more the tuition of someone who is in state. And as we see these budget issues also around the schools, right? How do we create those ecosystems? How do we create those partnerships? Maybe those sister to sister, universities so that you can do that exchange. UC Berkeley is investing in a lot of different companies and leveraging their relationships with the venture capital companies and kind of, riding on their coattails, so to speak. And so when these companies are making money, then UC Berkeley is also making money, so they don't have to be so dependent on the state for funds. So it's all related. You cannot say one thing without the other. I mean, it'd be nice if, you know, everybody understood the linkages and even companies, AI companies. I always ask, what schools are you working with? Are you working with community colleges? Are you working with the UC, CSUs, even private institutions? I mean, that's what we need is to train our next generation for jobs. They don't want to spend 150,000 in student loan debt when they cannot get a job after 4 years. So things are really changing. Community colleges are free right now for any first-time college attendee. It's tuition, so not room and board, but if you are located near a community college, many people are commuting and then transferring so that if they have to take student loan debt, then it's going to be less than going and doing a 4-year program, for example.
And speaking of, community colleges are free, and I think that's really great. And obviously, in-state tuition for UC and CSU students are also a lot lower as well than those who maybe come out of state. Are you also working with trade schools and institutions in that area as well to ensure that if somebody maybe leaving high school realizes that going for maybe a white collar future may not be it and wants to instead work on HVAC or plumbing or any of these trades. What are
Yep.
you working with on that side?
Yeah, so these type of programs, workforce development programs are really exploding.
Hmm.
Um, I think after COVID, where many young people saw their parents sitting in front of a computer, not happy with their job, they're
Yeah.
like, well, I just want to do something where I can make money. And so we do need a lot of people in these, apprenticeship programs. And the building trades, for example, is getting really creative. They partnered out at the state fair um, down in, I think it was Santa Cruz State Fair, where they always have high school students display their woodworking, their metal products, their tech products, and now the unions are actually there encouraging, meeting, and trying to recruit. Since these kids are already talented, they're already working with their hands, there is a pathway for them. And then that's kind of the missing link is someone letting you
Hmm.
know that, hey, if you're good at this, maybe you should try, coming with us where we can train you and you can continue your skills and not have to go into high student loan debt.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, one of the things that we're seeing right now too is just that so many students are graduating from college from their undergrad studies, and there are fewer job listings, and there are also just fewer companies hiring for entry-level employees. And so I think anything that you can do to uh, open those different pathways, even if, say, let's say you majored in management or you majored in computer engineering, but it's time to go and become a carpenter, right? Like those I think are always good opportunities to have and create for folks along the way.
Yeah, and these days the job market is very, very competitive.
Yeah.
And with AI, everybody's resume kind of looks spectacular. So, there's probably a lot more people applying now, and it's very hard for the employers to decipher which ones are real, which ones aren't
Mhm.
real. And I know that there's companies out there that are helping, with algorithms trying to weed out the ones that are you know, um, the most
Yeah, the
um,
fake jobs and all of
yeah,
that
for
stuff, right?
for the
Yeah.
for the big jobs, but it's probably taking a lot longer for people to hire as well, right?
Yeah.
Because there's just so many resumes that look the same. So I would say any opportunity you can to find a mentor,
Mhm.
to volunteer, to intern. I know sometimes you're not going to get paid, but that's a way in. We hire student interns here, paid student interns in government, and usually they're doing, a couple of hours a week with us, and if they're a good fit and they're doing good work, well, we end up hiring them. So we don't have to go through that extensive search, looking for, someone who will fit because someone is here already. We all know their name. They do great work. They want to work here. We want them to work here. So it's a win-win.
Hmm. Awesome. I wanted to, I think, take the last question here. I think, right? Folks also know you're running for lieutenant governor here in 2026. From a job search, workforce planning, economic standpoint, anything that you want to share about your platform so that folks can, learn more about you and possibly be convinced to vote for you and make you the next lieutenant governor.
Sure. So I've been doing this for 30 years. If I get elected lieutenant governor, that'll be my fifth elected position, and I haven't lost yet.
Awesome.
So served on the San Francisco Board of Supervisors 2002 to 2006, State Assembly 2006 to 2012, State Board of Equalization, your friendly tax collector 2014 to 2018, and then elected treasurer 2018 and reelected in 2022. So I've been around. I think
And you're a
more.
winner.
Yeah, exactly. And I think now more than ever, we need qualified, experienced people, not only to battle Washington, D.C., but to also understand how these ebbs and flows works and how, you can be proactive in planning what is going to happen down the road and what we need to do in government to make sure that, our constituents don't lose those important programs and services. Lieutenant Governor will sit on five boards: the UC, CSU Community College boards, state lands, and the Coastal Commission. So it's mostly education and the environment. And then the Lieutenant Governor also chairs the California Economic Development Council. And because I travel around to 58 counties, not every county is the same, not every region is the same. We've got different industries, clusters. I'm going to have a lot of different economic development councils so that we can come up with best practices, how we can expand our footprint, how we can better attract different companies, high paying jobs, what we need for this ecosystem, and put together white papers, testify on bills, get, many of my friends who are serving to author bills, as long as we have good data and backup and people who are willing to come and testify on behalf of a bill. That's, part of the winning formula for California.
Awesome. Wonderful. I want to thank you again for coming to join us today. It's been really awesome speaking with you. Just want to know, do you have any final words, final thoughts for job seekers and the white collar and just the overall California workforce as we look into next year and what to hope for and what to be excited about?
Yeah, I mean, California, we are the land of immigrants, of entrepreneurs. I'm the oldest child of immigrant parents. Never thought I would be treasurer running for lieutenant governor. Like every day I have to pinch myself. So if I can do it, everyone else can do it. And it used to be our parents came for the American dream. Now you need to come to California for the California dream. So that's what we're pitching right now is, we have a lot of opportunities. We are hopeful. We need to stay positive and just kind of work together a little bit more, which is what Silicon Valley, California does best. So come to California. We are open for business.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you so much again, Fiona, for your time today. For everybody else watching and also listening after this, thank you so much for your time for spending time with us tonight. And we hope to see you soon for other events. This particular recording will be available on our YouTube channel, and we hope to see you again very soon. Thank you all so much, everybody, and goodbye.